So as we do on every preview show, we start off with our rankings. So we start with the ACC is going to be 14 through 1. We don't do conference specific as far as Coastal and Atlantic. What we do is we break down the 14 best teams in our poll, and we do it from 14 to 1. Wake Forest, number 1. I don't think this really surprises anybody in the nation. They might be the national number 1 seed. We're going to take a look here in a few weeks when we do our top 25 show. But this Wake Forest team is absolutely loaded. Monty, I'm going to let you start with this Wake Forest team, and then I'm going to move to AJ and Noah last.
So it's interesting how much they've reloaded because they did lose a lot of pieces, but everyone's talking about it right now. I believe MLB Pipeline just did their most recent top rankings, and according to what I can see, there's 5 first-round draft picks on this Wake Forest team. They are so good. Nick Kurtz is obviously the headliner offensively. He very easily could have been ACC Player of the Year last year, so he's probably the favorite this year. He's going to be a top 5 draft pick. But then they get Seaver King from Division II Wingate. I got my first look at him playing for Team USA, and the kid is he's going to live up to the hype. It's hard sometimes to see. You're like, what? Why is this D2 transfer getting so much hype? And it's legit hype. So they also bring in some underrated transfers in Tate Balestro, Adam Tellier, 2 other guys who can play in the middle infield. And then, of course, the pitching lab, the pitching. That's what we're going to talk about with Wake Forest. They get the bell of the ball, Chase Burns from Tennessee. He's looking to be a top 5 pick as well. And obviously Josh Hartle, we saw what he had last year. And then, of course, Michael Massey's probably sliding into that Sunday role. You bring David Falco from Maryland to kind of cover the back end of the bullpen. I am really excited to see this Wake Forest team.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how much they brought in and the amount of talent that is on this team. Now, can they win? Can you win with this, guys? That's the big key there. AJ, we're talking about a lot of new faces, but they're all really talented. How do we like this ball club?
I mean, on paper, you love them, but the game's not played on paper. There have been a lot of teams assembled that we've seen fall apart, whether it's not bonding in the locker room, whether it's decimated by injury, which can definitely happen, especially in the college game where you can't go and sign new guys in the middle of the year. But there's just so much here that even if one of these guys has a down year, like you look at what North Carolina did last year when Vance Honeycutt wasn't what he was supposed to be. If Nick Kurtz goes out and isn't what he's supposed to be and puts up 75% of his production from last year, they're still going to be on the fringe for a top 8 national seed. They're not relying on 1 or 2 guys. There is so much here, and I think that's why we all have them. I would be surprised if we don't all have them at number 1 for the ACC, just with the depth and then the quality of just throughout the lineup. Mitchell Massey, I think if he starts, he's going to be a great starter, but being able to throw him out in a closer role, I think he would just shut down every game he goes in. His stuff is electric. I just don't understand the physics behind some of the stuff he throws. It's incredible. That entire lineup's incredible, and the ballpark is built for the roster they've assembled.
I'm okay if they keep Massey in the bullpen, right? Like, I think that's not a bad thing. He also would be a really good Sunday starter, but they're going to have to make that decision down the road here and see if anybody steps up in the spring camp here, getting ready to head into February ball. Noah, there's just so much like about this Wake Forest team. We all had them. They were unanimous number 1 for us. It wasn't even close. Tell us a little bit what you think about this Wake Forest team moving in here.
Well, every single name I wrote down came out of Monty's mouth pretty quickly. So he nailed it, but there's nobody I'm excited to watch more in probably the country than Seaver King. The buzz has been so palpable on him, and I'm glad to hear that Monty says he's going to live up to the hype. I would trust Monty with my life, so I'm certainly going to trust him with Seaver's potential here. It's a really, really exciting time to be a West Virginia, maybe a Wake Forest fan. Really, really looking forward to how they can rebound, because we all see what happens when a team has a great season and then the expectations crank up. So it'll be an interesting time to see how they handle that. But we've seen Wake Forest compete before, so I think they're ready for those challenges. And of course, it's pitching, Chase Burns is going to be really, really fun to watch, but so is this entire rotation. If you don't have Wake Forest penciled in Omaha right now, you should probably break out another pencil.
Find a new job. It's funny you guys keep mentioning Seaver King. I literally listed him 3 times in a row. I wrote Seaver King, Seaver King, Seaver King. If we don't talk about him, we're missing big. He's going to be really, really good. At least we're all hoping he's going to be really, really good for this ball club here. So Wake Forest, number 1. That rounds out our top 14 there for you guys.